One of Long Island's most high-profile elected officials in a generation is spending his last few days in office. News 12's Doug Geed takes a look at the retirement of Congressman Peter King, a story that you'll see only on 12.
He looks like some disheveled drunk.
Outspoken and feisty, two words that have often been used to describe Pete King throughout his long political career, a career that has reached its end.
Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you just get it's the right time.
Now 76 years old, King hasn't lost his feistiness or the sarcastic quick wit he's known for, but he says he's had enough.
My daughter moving to North Carolina with the grandchildren, I just wanted more time to travel.
Hempstead Town Hall. For decades, this has almost been like a farm team for Nassau County Republicans, historically one of the most powerful political organizations in the country. This place has launched the careers of county executives, state legislators, U.S. Senator Al D'Amato, and Peter King. He started as a town councilman here back in 1977.
Rudy and I actually first worked together in 1967, and he had just moved to Belmore, I just moved to Seaford.
King held town and county offices until his election to Congress in 1992. The Seaford house that he and his wife Rosemary have lived in for 53 years is filled with pictures of his decades in office.
Let's do a little word association. I'll throw out a name and just give me a word or two of what pops to mind. Bill Clinton.
Dynamic. Brilliant. Controversial.
George Bush.
Really solid guy, underrated.
Vladimir Putin.
Strong-arm thug.
Donald Trump.
Very good in some ways and unnecessarily controversial in others.
Barack Obama.
Very aloof, very distant. And a lot of Democrats will tell you the same thing. The total opposite of Joe Biden.
King became nationally known after the 9/11 attacks. He became chair of the House Committee on Homeland Security. That assignment also led to one of the biggest controversies in his career. He drew the ire of the Muslim community for holding a hearing on what he called the threat our country was facing by the radicalization of Muslim Americans. He stands by the comment and says the whole incident was blown out of proportion for political purposes. As for the political climate right now, King admits it's exhausting. He says the bitter rancor in the country almost makes compromise impossible.
Ronald Reagan was probably the most conservative president we ever had, certainly until then. Tip O'Neill, the most liberal speaker, and yet they worked out, even on Social Security, which is the third rail, they worked out agreements. I don't think they could have done it today.
Do you have a fear that democracy is even in the slightest bit of jeopardy?
Well, I have confidence the United States is always going to survive, but we're creating unnecessary problems for ourselves right now.
When he leaves office next week, those problems will be for others to handle. Family time and travel are in his future. And as for the future, he also wonders what will pop into people's minds when his name is mentioned.
About Pete King?
I'm not a bad guy. There's worse. Never hurt anybody, didn't have to be hurt, and fought hard for his people.
In Seaford, Doug Geed, News 12 Long Island.